Next up, our next question is going to go to Mr. Pizzula. And the question is this: as a business leader, what can local businesses do to support public education here in Broward County? And also, what challenges do you see for our education system to build a pool of skilled workers in a competitive workforce?
First off, I want to thank the panel, all of us, for being here. Over the last year or so, it's been a joy to work with this group, and especially even being here at Nova as an alumni of Nova. I'm really happy that we're holding this event here as well. Let me back up a little bit and tell you that I didn't want to be on this panel. I didn't want to be part of this whole task force. When Dave Wallace first called me back over a year ago and said, "John, we want the business community's input," I said, "No, you really don't. You really don't, Dave." And he said, "Yes, we do." After about half an hour, he said, "Let me come and have a cup of coffee with you." Because I said, "No." When I look at who was on the panel, to me, it was like the chickens guarding the hen house. Very few private sector folks on this panel. Now, there's an old saying: if you always do what you always did, you'll always get what you always got. Now, if you want to try something different because you're not satisfied with your product, then you should try something a little different. Now, I'll be honest with you. I've had a great time on this panel. And the give and take, even down here with Maggie beating me up and almost ready to kick me in the shins at some points, I've known Maggie for a long time. So I've enjoyed being here. Now, what can the business community do? I will tell you, there's almost nothing that we wouldn't do for the school system. We want to be involved. We want to be asked to be on panels such as this, where we can say, "You know what? When the teacher says it's not really the money, oh, come on. It is about the money. All I need to know is that when the teachers are going through their annual negotiations with the county, it's mostly about the money." As a private sector, gentlemen, I know that. When my boss says, "Look, John, we know that just a pat on the back is all you really want," I know that that's not true. We want to be able to take care of our teachers, and we do. If we look back to the 90s, we know that we couldn't get a penny sales tax passed because people didn't have faith in the school district. That hasn't really changed. When we hear the statistics of, boy, over 20% do not graduate, as a businessman, I know that. We want our kids to graduate from high school. The better educated the community is, the better off the whole community is. Everybody said that. We all know that. Earlier this afternoon, I was at a luncheon with Take Stock in Children. Now, I'm the former founding chairman for the leadership board for Take Stock in Children. Anybody here know what Take Stock in Children is? Not you, gentlemen. You know what it is. We give full scholarships to low-income kids. Now, let me tell you, that's a motivator. We buy a Florida prepaid when that student's in 6th grade, and they get a full scholarship. We buy that. It's a 2+2. Well, let me tell you, FAU loves our scholars. FIU loves them. Nova, they actually accept it as well. Thank you very much, Dr. Hendrick. That's something that that's what businesses want to do. The problem is, and if you look at what's going on, we need to know that we're getting our money's worth. Now, for the 20-some years that I've worked with State Farm Insurance, whether it's up in Maryland, just outside of D.C., or down here in Broward County, or down in Miami-Dade County, State Farm has always pushed our employees to be involved, to volunteer. For the last, 8 years, I've been teaching junior achievement at my kids' school. I go out every year, and I don't actually organize it. State Farm wants us to be involved. Businesses want to be involved. They want you to ask their opinion. If you are teaching something with regard to economics, math, call somebody. Get an accountant in there to help you out. They want to be asked to do it. They can help you. When you're looking for resources, look to the business community in terms of, I don't want my kid's teacher to have to buy the stuff themselves. It's a lot easier for me to put together a consortium of folks in the insurance industry to say, look, let's do a fundraiser and raise some money for what they're doing at the school. I really loved so much what Broward Education Foundation did with their scholarships for teachers. I think every year, I forget the exact name of it, they give away something like $30,000 to teachers around the county. I'm also the chairman for the town of Davies, our Youth Education Safety Advisory Board. We made the same type of grant for Davies schools. So we have 3 scholarships, 3 grants that we give away every year, $500 to the teachers. That's what we're trying to do. The business community is out there. Quite frankly, sometimes we just need to be asked. So with that, I thank all of those who are students here looking to be teachers. Crazy people. I'm just kidding. I'm a former school teacher, by the way. I didn't mention that. I taught 2 years up in Palm Beach, and the only reason I got out was the same reason that most men do anything, is because of a woman. She wouldn't move to Florida, so I went to Penn State for grad school. So there you go.
All set?
All set. Thank you.
We have 2 more questions that I'm going to ask the panel, so if any of you have any questions that you wanted to ask of the panel as a whole, or individual members, now would be the time to slowly start making your way to one of our 2 microphones. Our next question, however, is for Dr. Smith-Ball. Doctor, graduation statistics for minorities, especially African American males, is seriously low, concerningly so. How can focusing on effective teaching help those numbers? And what else should be done to more dramatically increase those graduation rates?
Thanks. First and foremost, to say seriously low, we're really talking dismal, pathetic rates for minority graduation. And one of the things at the Urban League, I've been at the Urban League for 15 years, I've served as a CEO for the last 5. And one of the things that I absolutely understand is that when you have challenges like this, it is really a community issue. So the first part of the question, teacher effectiveness and how that can help graduation rates, really and truly, I really commend the work that United Way has done in this body of work here, and it answers the question. So I really want to focus my couple of minutes on what else can be done, because everybody understands having an effective teacher in whatever classroom with whatever group of children is the way to ensure higher levels of graduation rates for anybody. But I think when we take a look at what else can be done, I think that is where we really have to begin to ask ourselves as a community, what really are we doing? First of all, I think that when we talk about the issue of graduation rates and minorities not graduating, we're really, depending on who you talk to in the school system, our school system, the national rate is about 47% to 51%. We're the 6th largest school district in the nation. And either we hover right above at that rate, maybe a little bit more, but at any rate, it is still far too low in terms of the number of young people that we graduate from high school. So the first thing is that we have to see it as a community issue, and honestly, I really do believe that everybody sees it, many people see it, and they're probably not the folks in this room, it's everybody else's issue. And until we really begin to own that, it is not a minority issue, it's a community issue. The issue of children, black boys, not graduating from high school, let's think about that for a second. 50% not graduating. So what I do when I talk to moms, and they have 2 boys, I said one of them they're not going to graduate from high school. And then they look at me and they get pissed. And I'm just like, I'm telling you, one of them ain't going to graduate. And then I use that as the way to get in to talk to them about what they need to be doing around ensuring the fact that their children graduate from high school. So first of all, it's a community issue. It's not everybody else's issue. It's not a minority issue. It's everybody in this room and in this community. The second thing is that what else can we be doing? We really need to understand that, and a few people on the panel mentioned the creativity. As a professional, I'm allowed to be creative at the Urban League. If something isn't working, my job is to figure out how to make it work. So if I had a product line that only produced, 100% investment in it, and it only gave me back an ROI, a return of investment of 50%, guess what? Either I will not be where I am right now, or I'm going to throw a lot of money into research and development to figure out what do I need to be doing differently. That's the creativity, that's the experimentation that is necessary within our school systems, within our families, within our community, that's necessary. A quick example, the Urban League runs after-school programs, we also run summer programs. And we had a young man in my leadership team that decided that he was going to take 25, we serve in our summer program on our elementary level about 150 kids. He wanted to take 25 of, using different factors, but of the most at risk or at promise children, young men, and put them in one classroom. And then he decided that he was going to use a collaborative way of teaching. He selected the facilitator, the most effective facilitator that he could find and money could buy to put in front of those 25 kids. He also decided that he was going to go out into the community, and for 8 weeks, he brought in about 12 professionals to talk to these young men every single week. And as a result of that, the math and the reading scores of those young men soared, because that was a part of the measurement for this particular funding. It soared. The behavior problems, little to none. Compared to summer programs that I've been running for the last 14 years, I was amazed. I didn't have to get called to the site for any reason. And I think at the end of the day, what ended up happening, and granted, the funder did come, they observed the classroom, and they wanted the desks in straight lines. They wanted the idea that the boys were writing, getting up and jumping up and writing on the chalkboard and the array. No, they need to be, and we fought that. We said no. We're going to experiment, we're going to be creative, and let's see what happens. And if we fail, then we'll have to take responsibility for that. But clearly we didn't. We have to allow that kind of experimentation within our school systems and also within our community. And last but certainly not least, we really have to understand the non-academic factors that play into this. And that requires that type of engagement that John is talking about with the business community. It requires the engagement with your community-based organizations like the Urban League, I see Brian out there, like the Boys and Girls Club, and other entities that will come into the school, that will come into the classroom, and not see us as a bother, but see us as a way that you can use the resources that we are bringing to the table that you don't have, that we're able to access and be able to bring that into the school system and into the classrooms to really support the challenges that these young men, young women face outside of the classroom. And we really have the resources to be able to do that. So in closing, I would just want to say that if we really want to do something different, we need to get radical. What we're doing right now, just by pure numbers, it's not working. We haven't hit this tipping point that we need to get to. And the ramifications of it in terms of within our community really have social and economic implications that we have yet. If I was throwing babies into the river, you would come and arrest me. You would be like, you're killing them. That's what we're doing. 50% of them are not graduating, and we're picking them up at the end, either in unemployment lines, in jail, and the list goes on and on and on and on. Because they're going to marry somebody, have children with somebody, and it just continues to perpetuate. And we really have to take a really, really good look at what we are doing as a community. Parents, community, businesses, everybody. I do not put this just on teachers. Everybody has a responsibility to do it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Doctor.